That's actually a very close connection. Tem and Jerry, because Tom and Jerry, and if no one's ever heard of that, you're losers and you live under a rock. Never ever heard of Tom the cat and Jerry the mouse. I mean, honestly, if you guys have never heard of that, you live under a rock. I don't mean to be rude, but honestly, you people you need to get lives if you haven't heard of that. I mean, honestly. Anyway, uh, Hagrid. Sorry, I usually read those little inspirational sayings. Um, let's get right into it. Neutral Party, Chapter 12. Yeah. So, let's get right into this garden party. I mean, I know that's what I call my friends, and yeah. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm no hero. Or sorry, I'll start that again. I'm no hero, Sam said. I'm a neutral party. And with that, his body disappeared, and you were left alone in the dark caverns that were known as Waterfall, nicknamed Bloodfall. Your leg was dragging miserably behind you as you tried to avoid all the traps that awaited you. You wanted to get out of here as soon as possible, and you never wanted to see Sans again. You had to keep reminding yourself that this flower fiasco had to do with him, and it was his fault your leg no longer functioned the way it was supposed to. As soon as you thought you had made it out of Waterfall, you're faced with this incredibly cute being called a Temmie. Hint hint, that's the nickname I use for my friend, Temmie. I don't disclose real names because that is dangerous and you kids should know that. Anyways, and I don't like hate comments, so yeah. But thanks to all that have, I do not mind constructive criticism, but I do not like hate comments. Anyway, back to the story. That, as far as you knew, was very friendly. It had spoken short sentences and said words wrong, but it seemed to have good intentions as it led you to its village. There was only one thing that you would think was a building in the Temmie town, and that thing was a cave where you seemed just like another Temmie was buying and selling whatever you had or wanted. The one thing Temmie had for sale that you didn't know about was called Temmie Flakes, which you were afraid to try because it looked like pastel-colored dandruff, and the smell of them made you feel lightheaded. They were probably drugs. And now that you had thought about it, all the Temmies did seem like they were high on something. You thought that maybe the drugs were better and gave you a better high, and the more expensive they were, and you honestly had enough money to send Temmie in front of you to send the Temmie in front of you to what you assumed was college. But that seemed like a trap, so you pretended you had very little money. You didn't have much to sell either, as you generally left most of the things you found in the places they were. You only had the faded ribbon, which you kept around your wrist as a reminder of Toriel and your time in the ruins, and a notepad that you had bought off the turtle guy. He had seemed very adamant about you buying something from him other than edible things. So you bought that just to make him feel better. You did sell the notepad, but only because the stare that Temmie was giving you was kind of creepy. You felt you felt like it was hungry and that it wanted you to turn around so that it could sink your teeth into your back. That made you buy a little of the Temmie flakes, and when you left, not entirely looking away from the Temmie as you walked through the door, the rest of the Temmie village was small and had one Temmie that seemed mildly capable of thought, called Bob. He was kind and if you talked with him long enough, he would be telling you about how horrible his life was. Never in a million years did you think that monsters were forced to act certain ways just like humans were. Bob was forced by his parents to pretend to be a stupid Temmie, just like the rest, so that his family was not outcast and he was not judged poorly. However, Bob was already bullied because he allegedly changed his name from Temmie to Bob, and because he was in love with a monster that was not a Temmie. She is wonderful, Bob said. A beautiful, plain-like creature that is not plain in any way. You had left the Temmie village feeling wiser and knowing that people other than you hated it, hated it in this place. Bob had shared wisdom about you could convince the king to open the barrier and let the monsters go free. But he did not know the price you would have to pay for doing so. You didn't blame him for not knowing the details, as no one told Temmies anything. They were almost as bad in Monster Eyes as Jerry, who no one liked, not even you, though you would never admit to it out loud. Jerry was one of those people who constantly complained about everything and never shut up. And when they weren't complaining, they were talking about themselves as though everyone was hanging on every fucking word he said. When Jerry talked to you, they would look you in the eyes and call you stupid and said you had a terrible sense of fashion. But when they would talk about how they hated living in the underground, that they would save all of the other monsters if they wanted to, but they didn't because they felt they should leave all the heavy lifting to the human grunts, such as yourself. All you knew for sure was that you had to open the barrier. Yeah, chapter 12, guys. I'm sorry, it's incredibly short, but hey, it's not me writing it, it's the author, Bubba. Yeah, you should go check her out. This is Kotev, by the way. And yes, Kotev is not just a quiz thing, it's a... Never mind. Let's see. Yeah. Chapter 12, guys. Sorry I'm not doing much today, it's just kind of hanging around the house, being bored, doing nothing really. I already cleaned it, so it's like, now I'm just like, blah. Anyway. See you later, my garden party. Bye. Bye.